What's going on there, guys? We back with another one, and we got to talk about Shannon Sharpe and JJ Redick having a little mix-up today on the show, and I think it stems from, I think it was a week or two ago when they were talking about who was the face of the league or who could be the face of the league after LeBron is gone. That's an American-born player, and Shannon Sharpe brought up a lot of players that are faces of leagues. They're married, or if they aren't married, they have a high-profile, long-standing relationship, with a woman or whatever. And Stephen A. and JJ Redick wasn't really following what he was saying, and it went viral, and they were talking about Shannon didn't cook that time when he was using his analogy or whatever. And also, JJ Redick had an issue with Stephen A. Smith about Kevin Durant and him being a leader in the locker room and all that recently, and they kind of got into it. Well, today, JJ tried to overtalk Shannon Sharpe, and Shannon Sharpe, you could tell, like, the way that he responded, it was more so he don't want to set this precedent where JJ feels comfortable talking to him like that, because he had like a disposition already based off how he's seen JJ interact with others. Like, if I let him overtalk me now, I let him come at me like this now, it's going to persist and be a problem in the future. Well, I'm going to show y'all all that first, and then I'm going to show you the clip where they kind of got into it. And I'll be back. Let's peep.
What about relationship status? Magic and Bird was married. LeBron was in a relationship with Savannah. How do we look at that? Because when we look at presidential candidates, we look at candidates, we want them to be secure. We want them to be foundational pieces. You know what I'm saying? That you have, like, you're stuck.
I'm not going to lie. I don't know what the hell you're asking.
That's a form of leadership. Now I want to address Stephen A.'s point. Since when is it players' jobs to educate people on basketball? When did that become a thing? When did that become a thing? Isn't that our job? Isn't that our job?
I'll answer.
I do that as my job. That's my job to educate people on basketball.
I'm letting you speak, and then I'll answer.
It's our job, Stephen A., to educate people on basketball.
Have been doing their job. And you bring up the question, you periodically ask questions like this. Have you been in the locker room with a player? Well, that depends on how you look at it, because you've interviewed players in locker rooms, if you're me, for decades. You've done that if you're Mike Wilbon. Mike Wilbon co-authored the book that CP3 ultimately wrote, okay? He went to a scribe in order to do that. Just because you didn't play and you didn't play on that level doesn't mean you don't
Stephen
know.
A., don't jump on that bridge. Don't jump on that bridge.
Well, you're the one that brought it up.
I was not bringing it up. You don't need to tell me your track record. I've told you a million times.
I'm not talking about my track record.
Show. I know you are a legend. You are a legendary journalist. Mike Wilbon is a legendary journalist. That's not what I'm talking. I'm not talking about being in the locker room after a game.
Well, what are you talking about then?
This is
you the one that brought it up. I'm asking you what you're talking about.
The day-to-day work that is put in when the cameras are off. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the sanctity of a locker room. But it doesn't matter. The sanctity of a practice. We don't have privilege to see inside that. We don't. The Lakers winning the Western Conference because of what Stephen A. said. I do not think they can beat the Denver Nuggets.
But see, why do people make all these concessions? Oh, it was a tough back-to-back. It was a this or that.
I'm not
you make concessions for every.
I'm contextualizing the loss last night, Shannon.
I know you do a great job of contextualizing, but let me speak. The problem that I have with you and others is that you make concessions for every other team in the West, not named the Lakers. If the Lakers had lost on a back-to-back, you would have said they're old and tired. Well, let me ask you this. Who are Phoenix wing stoppers on the defensive end? We saw LeBron hunt Kawhi Leonard. We saw LeBron James do what he did. Who's going to guard LeBron James for the Clippers? Who's going to guard LeBron James for Phoenix?
LeBron James didn't hunt Kawhi Leonard in that fourth quarter. Clippers switched more than any team.
They put him in the pick and roll. They put him in the pick and roll.
Daniel Tice on LeBron James in that fourth quarter. He hit 2 transition threes. They messed up the first 3. They messed up the switch on Horn's chest. They messed up the switch on Horn's chest. Then he hits 2 transition threes. Then he hits a 3 over Daniel Tice. Now all of a sudden they're forced to double. He was not hunting Kawhi Leonard. Shannon,
let me ask you a question. If Kawhi Leonard is if Kawhi Leonard is what you said, why didn't he fight harder over that pick? See, that's what Kobe did. That's what Jordan did. That's what LeBron did when he was in his prime. He fought over picks. So answer that question, Mr. Contextualization.
Shannon, you're going to have to ask Ty Lue that question because, again, that is their defensive strategy.
You.
That has been the strategy.
I don't have Ty Lue in front of me.
That has been the strategy for the Los Angeles Clippers. I'm telling you, that is the defensive strategy for the Los Angeles Clippers. He is comfortable switching his bigs onto perimeter players. I played against the Clippers in 21. I was injured, rather, but I was on the Dallas Mavericks for 7 games. He switched Zubats onto Luka. He was comfortable living in those matchups. It's not a question for me. It's not a comparison to Kobe and Jordan. Like, the whole thing with the NBA right now, Shannon, let me explain something to you. The whole thing with the NBA right now is exploitation of matchups. The smartest coaches look to exploit matchups. And that's all the playoffs is.
That's what Mazzulla's
That's all it
about,
is.
right?
That's what Joe Mazzulla is so great at. That's what the best coaches are so great at. They're looking to create advantageous matchups and then exploit that. Put 2 on the ball, whatever it may be. So your question should be for Ty Lue. Why do they switch so much? I don't have the answer. That's his defensive strategy.
So I'm going to say this. J.J. Redick is not wrong with describing the NBA and the exploitation of matchups. You watch any game, you see the pick and roll, you see them switch or move the ball around until they get the people that they want lined up in front of the offensive player that they want to exploit this matchup with, and that's who takes the shot a lot of times. Even for ball-dominant guys like Luka, you'll see a bunch of picks until you have a big switch out there or somebody who's slow of foot or somebody who's smaller than him, and that's what will happen on offense. I mean, that is what the NBA is, period. So JJ's not wrong about that. I think the part that offends people is maybe his delivery, his facial expressions, how demonstrative he is at times. And Shannon's been sitting back watching that, and I bet, and I ain't trying to be funny, but I think it reminded him of Skip, the way he talked to him. Now, obviously, JJ isn't Skip, and he reeled himself back in. But when he asked him about it, JJ gave him an answer about, that's Ty Lue's defensive scheme. Now, can JJ work on his delivery at times? Because Shannon isn't an NBA player, but he is at least another high-level athlete that actually was a higher-level athlete than JJ was in his field. Shannon is a higher profile by far athlete in his field. Shannon is top of the top of tight ends. So when he's talking to him, he can't use the have you been in locker rooms thing as far as camaraderie of a team, what it takes to put into the sport every day. So I think Shannon, the way JJ was talking, I think, he was just reminding them without saying it that, like, I've been in them locker rooms too, and I'm a Hall of Famer. You're not a Hall of Famer, Don't confuse your Duke career with your NBA career, because I was that guy, at the highest level of football. And I think that's what he was trying to get across to JJ, because JJ was making a lot of sense as far as what he was saying in regards to the current NBA game, So, I want to know what you guys think about J.J. Redick and the way he delivers his critiques or the way he talks to his co-hosts. I think it brings ratings, and people have gotten on to J.J. Redick about being in the media and criticizing the media. Because I know in one of the clips, not that I just showed, but one of the clips recently, he said, he was talking about how Zion Williamson was used I think in pick and rolls or something like that, and it only had 54,000 views. But there was another video where they were talking about some garbage around the game, or something controversial, and it had millions of views. And that's the ecosystem they live in. But I think one thing JJ has to realize is, okay, you're on First Take, right? And this is how I would rationalize it to him. He brings up good points. He brings up well thought out basketball points on that platform. Is that platform where it is without, the talking about Cowboys, talking about LeBron all the time? No, it just isn't. Or the hottest topic, talking about Steph, the Warriors, all that. You have to play those games when you're in the clicks business. So JJ has to find that balance, or recognize that balance is needed for someone like him to come on the platform to say what he got to say. Now, even him being controversial and complaining about that feeds a certain demographic of fans that would love to see that more, and they be siding with JJ like, yeah, y'all talk about the same thing all the time. But what I'm basically trying to say is Stephen A&M, the show they put on, and the things they talk about, it brings views. JJ fussing at them about talking about those things and the way that they talk about them brings more views. But you couldn't just have JJ's formula of just talking straight basketball for ESPN when they're competing as an entertainment company and maintain the same views. So it is a bit of, you have to bring some knowledge of the game to the table. But only a few people can walk that fine line where they can entertain and get you knowledge. And, Shannon in football, he be giving you both. He's very entertaining and, he's very knowledgeable of that game. And he's a big fan of LeBron James, and he knows a little bit about basketball. You know what I'm saying? So, but JJ's knowledge, he's the most knowledgeable on the show as far as basketball goes, I feel like. And Perk be bringing some things to the table too. But let me know what you guys think about this conflict, man. Y'all think this is much of nothing? How y'all feel about JJ and the way he was talking to Shannon Sharpe, and how you feel about the way Shannon Sharpe kind of set him straight and set, the tone of how their working relationship going to be? Let me know in the comments, man. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time. Peace.